Objective Petrology, multiple choice questions with answers. These are the collection from various previous years question papers and hope these are useful for various competitive exams like CSR, NET, GATE, GSI and other exams. Welcome to set 16. Coming to the first question. Graphic intergrowth between quartz and feldspar is seen in. The choices are A. Diorite, B. Granodiorite, C. Cyanite and D. Granophyre. Graphic intergrowth between quartz and feldspar is seen in D. Granophyre. So granophyric texture, it can be similar to the micrographic texture and to the coarser graphic intergrowths of quartz and alkali feldspar. So these are common in pegmatite. So graphic intergrowth between quartz and feldspar is seen in granophyre. D is the correct option. Next question. Olivine rich metabasalt is A. Troctolite, B. Saxonite, C. Aeolite, D. Oceanite. Olivine rich metabasalt is D. Oceanite. Oceanite is a variety of picritic basalt which is characterized by its large amounts of olivine phenocryst and lesser amounts of augite, and by having a ground mass of olivine, plagioclase and augite. So olivine rich metabasalt is D. Oceanite. D. Oceanite is the correct answer. Next question. Soda-rich basalt in which albite to oligoclase is predominant. A. Tephrites, B. Spilites, C. Picrites, D. Tephrites. So, soda-rich basalt in which albite to oligoclase is predominant is C. Picrites. Picrite basalt or picrobasalt is a variety of high magnesium olivine rich basalt. It's dark with yellow green olivine phenocryst and black to dark brown colored pyroxene. So this is mostly augite and it often associates with tholeiitic basalts and olivine rich alkali basalts. So picrites and comatites are similar chemically. So soda rich basalt in which albite to oligoclase is predominant is picrites. C. Picrites is the correct. Next question. Olivine bearing basalts are A. Carbonatites, B. Tachylite, C. Diorite, D. Tephrites. Olivine bearing basalts are tachylites. So what are tachylites? So some basalts are quite glassy, that is tachylites, and many are very fine grained and compact. So it is more usual and however for them to exhibit the porphyritic structure with larger crystals known as a phenocryst of olivine, augite or feldspar in a finely crystalline matrix as known as a ground mass. So olivine bearing basalts are trachylites. B is the correct option. Next question. Volcanic equivalent of adamalite is A. Rhyolite, B. Trachyte, C. Rhyodacite and D. Andesite. So the correct option is volcanic equivalent of adamalite is rhyodacite. Rhyodacite is nothing but a fine-grained igneous rock containing 20% to 60% quartz, in which plagioclase makes up about 2/3 of the total feldspar content. So C. Rhyodacite is the correct option. Next question. Find the odd one out. A. Lehergolite, B. Herzburgite, C. Dunite and D. Granite. So all these are the darker colored minerals and granite is a light colored mineral. So that is it consists of a silica member. The silica is in more proportion in granite. Next question. Texture in dolerite is A. Porphyritic, B. Poikitic, C. Ophitic and D. None. Texture in dolerite is ophitic. Ophitic texture, it is the association of latch-shaped euhedral crystals of plagioclase. So these are grouped radially or in an irregular mesh with the surrounding or interstitial large anhedral crystals of pyroxene, and it is characteristic of the common rock type known as diabase. So texture in dolerite is ophitic. Next question. Eighth question. Porphyritic melanocritic dicrocs exhibiting panidiomorphic texture is A. Granite, B. Applied, C. Lamprophire, D. Gabbro. So porphyritic and melanocritic dicrocs exhibiting panidiomorphic is texture is Lamprophire. So Lamprophire, these are a group of rocks containing phenocryst, usually of biotite and amphibole and pyroxene, but not of feldspar. So they are thus distinguished from the porphyries and the porphyrites, in which the feldspar has crystallized in 2 generations. So here lamprophyres, in this lamprophyres, equigranular, euhedral and porphyritic melanocritic dicrocs exhibiting panidiomorphic texture. So equigranular euhedral crystals generally exhibit panidiomorphic texture and it is seen in lamprophyres. Next question. Textures observed in subhedral crystal is A. Peridiomorphic, B. Allotriomorphic, and C. Hypidiomorphic, and D. None of the above. So texture observed in subhedral crystal is C. Hypidiomorphic. Hypidiomorphic granular texture. So that means it consists of dominantly of mineral grains with partly developed or subhedral shape. Example, gabbro, granite. Thus, hypidiomorphic granular texture, it is the commonest of the granular texture, and it's also called as a granitic because this is mostly found in the granitic rock. So, textures observed in subhedral crystals is hypidiomorphic. C is the correct option. Next question. Alkali feldspar is an essential mineral in A. Granite, B. Cyanide, C. Gabbro, and D. Basalt. So, alkali feldspar is an essential mineral in cyanide. Cyanide is a coarse-grained intrusive igneous rock with a general composition similar to that of granite, but deficient in quartz. So, which if present at all, it occurs in relatively small concentrations, that is less than 5%. So, alkali feldspar is an essential mineral in B. Cyanide. B is the correct option. Next question. Rock which contains equal proportions of feldspar and plagioclase are known as A. Adamalite, B. Diorite, C. Monzonite, D. Pulluskite. So, rock which contains equal proportions of feldspar and plagioclase are known as monzonites. So, monzonite is a coarse-grained igneous rock, which means that it is formed by very slow cooling of the magma deep within the earth. So, it contains equal proportions of feldspar and plagioclase. Next question. Alkali cyanides with abundant mafics is A. Monzonite, B. Pulluskite, C. Shonkinite, and D. Nordmarkite. Alkali cyanides with abundant mafics is C. Shonkinites is the correct answer. Shonkinite is an intrusive igneous rock, and more specifically it is a mafic rock, and it is a hollow crystalline intrusive rock. In the restricted sense, it is composed of potassic feldspar with nepheline, augite, biotite, and olivine. Next question. Nepheline cyanide in which feldspar disappears is A. Theralite, B. Taschenite, C. Pulluskite, and D. Isolite. Nepheline cyanide in which feldspar disappears is known as isolite. So, isolite is an intrusive igneous rock that is composed essentially of nepheline and an alkali pyroxene, usually agerinagite. It is the plutonic equivalent of volcanic nephelinites. Typically, the pyroxene is well crystallized and is surrounded by the nepheline. So, nepheline cyanide in which feldspar disappears is known as isolite. Next question. Volcanic equivalent of leucite cyanide is A. Andradite, B. Phonolite, C. Rhyolite, and D. Trachyte. Volcanic equivalent of leucite cyanide is phonolite. So, phonolite, any member of a group of extrusive igneous rocks, that is lavas, which are rich in nepheline and potash feldspar. And the typical phonolite is a fine-grained, compact igneous rock which splits into thin and tough plates. And they make a ringing sound when struck by a hammer, and hence the rock's name is known as a phonolite. Okay, so volcanic equivalent of leucite cyanide is phonolite. B is the correct option. Next question. Common texture in basalt is A. Poikilotic, B. Ophitic, C. Porphyritic, D. None of the above. Common texture in basalt is known as porphyritic. Porphyritic or porphyritic basalt is characterized by obvious crystals, usually of plagioclase, so which is often white or tan in color, and these crystals are typically interpreted as the phases that formed before the eruption. So, where magma was being stored as in a magma chamber. So, common texture in basalt is C. Porphyritic is the correct answer. Next question. Which is characteristic of oceanic islands? A. Alkali olivine basalts, B. Thiolites, and C. Carbonatites, and D. Lamprophytes. Characteristic of oceanic islands is alkali olivine basalts. Alkali basalt or alkali olivine basalt is a dark colored and it is a porphyritic volcanic rock usually found in oceanic and continental areas associated with volcanic activity such as oceanic islands, continental rifts, and volcanic fields. So, A is the correct option. Next question. Which are characteristic of most of the great plateau basalts? A. Spilites, B. Picrites, C. Tholites, and D. Tephrites. Characteristic of most great plateau basalts are the spilites. Spilite is a fine-grained or dense extrusive igneous rock. It is also known as a volcanic rock, and that is usually free of visible crystals and is commonly greenish or greyish in color. Greyish green in color, and spilites are of basaltic character but contain the feldspar albite in place of the normal labradorite. So, the characteristic of the most of the great plateau basalts is spilites. A is the correct option. Next question. Homogeneous conglomerates defined from one provenance indicate of long tectonic stability. A. Oligomectic, B. Polymectic, C. Agglomerate, D. None of the above. So the correct option is A, oligomectic. A conglomerate where a class represent more than one rock type is known as a polymectic or petromectic, while the one where the class are of a single rock type are known as a monomectic or oligomectic. So homogeneous conglomerates defined from one provenance which indicate of long tectonic stability are known as oligomectic conglomerate. So A is the correct option. Next question. A porphyroclast is A large clast in a sedimentary rock. B. Similar to the porphyroblast. C. Large crystal in igneous rocks. D. None of the above. A porphyroclast is a large clast in a sedimentary rock. A porphyroclast is a relict crystal in a dynamically metamorphosed rock. Its derivation appears to be from the porphyroclastic texture. A is the correct option. Porphyroclast is a large clast in a sedimentary rock. Next question. The structure which shows spotted appearance is termed as A. Cataclastic, B. Maculose, C. Helicitic, and D. Myelonite. So the correct answer is B. Maculose. Maculose structure is characterized by a spotted appearance of the rock that may be caused due to the formation of a large sized crystals. These are also called as a porphyroblasts within or otherwise fine grained rock as a result of thermal metamorphism of argillaceous rocks like shale. This is an important question asked in a number of the exams, like the structure which shows spotted appearance is known as a maculose. Hope you have learned some basic petrology questions from this, and hope you can subscribe to this channel, and see you in the next video. Your suggestions are most welcome. Thank you for your time.